Okay, hi, good morning. Yes, it's still morning for a little bit yet. So, I have a story to tell you about something stupid I did last night. It's so embarrassing, but it's also a good insight into some of the really narrowly specific ways in which my brain just does not work. And these things, they confuse people because they'll meet me or they'll be in a class with me or they'll have a chat with me or something like, wow, like she's really smart, she's really articulate or whatever, and people will compliment me and stuff like that all the time, and I'm like, oh, thank you. And then I do something like this and they're like, that doesn't make sense at all. I'm like, well, yeah, I know, that's me. So I got invited to this fashion show and I'd never really gone to anything like that before. It was in Bellevue. It was at a Wolford boutique, and I'd never heard of Wolford before. And I'm really glad I did because now I have a whole new line of clothing that I can aspire to buy someday. It's really amazing stuff. It was pretty incredible. And the way the whole show came together and was put together with it was a really small space. When I walked in there, I was like, there's no way they can hold a fashion show in here. But they did, and it worked really well. It was like just the right number of people showed up to kind of line every wall. There was 4 models doing 2 outfits each. And they were showing a lot of accessories, these like artisan, handmade, pieces of jewelry with semi-precious stones and all of that. And then they showed some vintage handbags that they paired with these outfits as well from, I want to say Victoria Stowe. I don't know where I left the card. It's here somewhere. Anyway, so I go to this event and I was invited by Yulia, who kind of is Suli era in a lot of ways. And she's like, yeah, come to this fashion show. I was like, oh, great, that's really wonderful. And I'm going to work on a project with her. That we've talked about working on a project for going into next year about just improved trans visibility and accuracy of perception of who we are as people and things like that. And so it was really flattering, to be invited to this thing. And she comes up to me after. She's like, what did you think? How did the whole thing go for you? And I was like, it was really great. It was really valuable to see. Because I got there an hour early, it was really valuable to see how this kind of event can come together and what kind of work is involved in it. It was really useful for me to see what the models did because I've done modeling, but I haven't done fashion show modeling, and I've done modeling for photos, like fashion photos, and it's a little bit different. So it was really great to see what the modeling job is like, and be like, yeah, I think I could actually do that. I think I'd actually be pretty good at it. It was just a great experience, and I was like, and I told her that, and I told her, well, now what I really need to do is just figure out how to kind of get my name out there and help people understand that if they want a model for these kinds of things, that I'm available, that I like doing this kind of work. And then once I've done it once or twice, hopefully I can also have this kind of reputation of being good, I hope. That people are like, oh yeah, Sera and I, we'll call her and have her come, walk around in this dress or whatever. And she's like, well, all you have to do to she has a fantastic accent that I can't recreate at all. She's like, well, if you want to achieve this kind of stuff, basically what you do is you go to events like this, and you start meeting people. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good idea. Thank you so much for inviting me. And then I left. I just left. I don't, and I was driving home and I was thinking yeah, it was tiring because mingling in crowds where I don't know anybody already is probably the single most exhausting kind of social interaction that I can have. I can be up on a stage in front of 500 people or 1,000 people, it doesn't matter, crowd size, and I'm fine with that. And I can be with a group of friends, I'm fine with that. I can be with one other person, fine with that. But if it's a room of 40 people and I don't know any of them already, I'm just and I'm just instantly exhausted. So I left. I wasn't feeling super energetic, but I was like, I was glad I went. It was nice to dress up and go out and be part of this kind of event. And I'm about halfway home, halfway back to #girlfriend's apartment, where I'm sitting now. And I realized that she had literally just told me what I have to do to succeed in the place where I was already sitting so that I could immediately do that thing. So I drove in really frustrated silence for a couple minutes, and I went like, shit. And I was like, well, there's nothing I can do now. Like, it would be completely ridiculous for me to try to turn back around and go back and show back up, as everything's probably winding down. I don't know. Super embarrassing. So that's a problem that I have. And when I get that tired from being in that kind of situation, my IQ kind of just goes off a cliff. And I literally did not understand her message until way later. So that's some insight into how my brain works. And I'm optimistic that she'll invite me to more of these things in the future, and that when I go to them, I will have it very firmly in my mind on the way there that I need to, I have to set a goal, right? I have to, I don't know, exchange contact information with at least 3 people or something, some kind of, something modest but achievable. And then eventually, in theory, I will go to this kind of event, and instead of being a room of 50-ish people that I don't know, it'll be a room of mostly people that I know, 40 people that I know and 10 people that I never met, and it'll be easy to talk to them because I'll already be interacting with everyone. So that's the hope. I came home and I told #girlfriend this story, and she just, rolled her eyes and laughed at me and was just... I mean, what other reaction can you have, right? So I rolled my eyes, and I laughed at myself, and then I thought, what an embarrassing story. I should share it with everyone. That's what I've done. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm sorry I look kind of like trash today, but I'm going to just sit here and do homework and try to not fall asleep because I'm so tired.